Welcome to Casa Italiana at Zerilli-Marimò. As many of you know probably, this is our last event of the year and of this fall semester. And we are delighted to close with one of the most beloved and long-lasting series at Casa Italiana, Adventures in Italian Opera with Fred Plotkin, and with his wonderful guest that we are going to introduce in a second. You might have noticed that before the event start, since the beginning of this academic year, we put videos. We are very proud of our video library. You can find, for example, all the previous conversations of Fred with the protagonists of Italian opera. They are on Vimeo, or you can look for them in our website. If you listen to all of them, you will be granted an honorary PhD in opera studies. No, seriously, it's a fantastic resource. And they're fun, entertaining, but definitely very educational, even for people who know a lot about opera. So check them out during the holidays. And tonight, after the conversation between Fred and Latonia, we're going to have our Christmas party, as you might know. And that's the reason why I will not be staying here. Unfortunately, I will listen to the live streaming. By the way, hello to everybody who is following this event in streaming, because I will make the zabaglione del direttore. Yes. It has become a tradition. I tried to get out of the tradition, but there was no way for me to do it. So that, unfortunately, is not going to be available to the people watching online. But for those of you who are here, you're welcome to stay and have a little zabaglione to warm yourself up before you brave the cold again. But now, the reason you're here is to celebrate, listen, and converse with Fred Plotkin and Latonia Moore. Please welcome them.
Ciao, buonasera.
Have a seat. Julian, please play number 1.
In Hollywood, fame is a fleeting thing, to coin a phrase. I'll bet very few of you remember a girl named Cecilia Sisson, oh, you do remember her. Oh, good. Well, then we'll tell the others who she was. Cecilia starred in the first all-talking, all-singing motion picture, Mississippi Melody. Beautiful Cecilia Sisson, with the face of an angel and the figure of a wood nymph. Among the top 10 at one time, and now but a memory. What happened? This is the inside story. My name is Cecilia. S-I-S-S-O-N. I starred in the first all-talking picture, Mississippi Melody. I had been on the silent screen for 7 years and had worked with Wallace Beery, Buster Keaton, C. Aubrey Smith, and many others. My career was going great guns when suddenly something happened. Overnight, I hit the skid. So to speak. They seemed to feel that there was something wrong with my voice. Absolutely asinine. There wasn't a thing the matter with my voice. It was studio politics. That's what it was. I just wouldn't play ball with the producer. And I told him so in no uncertain terms. Now, when I watch all the old movies on TV, I say to myself, Cecilia? girl. With your looks and talent, you could have been one of the greatest stars today if you'd only been able to keep your big mouth shut.
So I broke my front tooth. And I thought, how can I discuss this with you? And I let Carol Channing do it for me. So I ask your indulgence. I don't do it that much, but I'm doing it for now. But I'm sorry that I have to do this wonderful presentation with this marvelous artist, lisping this way, but please be patient. It happened at a restaurant. I will not name the restaurant. Their insurance will cover my implant. So that's a good thing. Would you please welcome the wonderful artist, and I'll use all the S's I want, the splendid artist, Latonia Moore.
Grazie. Thank you.
I have wanted her to come here for a long time. It's always a matter of finding the right date. She's here courtesy of the Metropolitan Opera, where she's appearing right now in Porgy and Bess.
I love it.
And as Serena Robbins. And who here has seen it already? You all have to go. She's just doing Serena a couple more times, right?
Twice more.
Twice more. And then I know you're going to do all kinds of other things, but is this the last of Serena at the Met?
This is the last Serena for me at the Met.
For you at the Met?
Yes,
Well, that's what I
definitely.
meant. No, she'll never go. But it's really a magnificent performance. And people who have seen Latonia primarily in recent contemporary roles or recent American English language roles may not know that she's a fabulous, legendary, beloved singer of the Italian repertory. And this being the Casa, Italiana, Zerilli-Marimò. Oh, by the way, the first time Latonia and I spoke, she said to me, I want you to know how to pronounce my name. It's like lasagna. And this being the Casa
Perfetta,
Italiana.
come lasagna.
Come lasagna. I want to play a performance that I really happen to love of a lot of her performances, but one that you might not expect. Julian, please set up number 3, which is just gorgeous singing. It happens to be Verdi, it's gorgeous music, but it's also gorgeous singing. It was done, I believe, semi-staged, you'll see, in Norway, and is just everything you'd want from a Verdi soprano.
Oh my goodness, I'm so curious. I don't actually know what it is.
So, here we go. You'll love it.
Let's hope so. Ah, Otello. This was my very first Desdemona, and I was in love with the role from that moment forward.
Gesù
The reason I play that first is that you are often associated with having a luscious, voluptuous, rich, full voice, all those adjectives about plenty. And a lot of singers who have that kind of voice do not have a good pianissimo or any pianissimo. And one of the many things I love about your singing is that you can do the whole range of volume and dynamics and so on. How do you do that?
Well, it's a funny thing because when I started as an opera singer, I was a mezzo, which you can probably tell from my speaking voice because it's set very low. But one of the things that was a huge challenge for me was singing, mezzo voce and doing the pianissimo and things like that. So when I was with my teacher and like botching it every time, she ended up saying to me, she said, "Don't think about it as soft. Don't even think about it as floating or anything like that. It has to be like the tiniest spot in your heart." And so every time I go up to a floated high note, even if it's some comic opera, I always think about the tiniest spot in my heart and just let that tiny sound out, you know what I mean? I don't know if I'm thinking that it's tiny coming out of my mouth, but it's a special place in your heart when you have to sing a pianissimo. Because if you only think about it technically too, then you get upset if it's not perfect, which I find my singing is very often not perfect. But what's excellent about it is that it's always sincere. So when you go up to pianissimo, any soprano, even if they're technically stunning and perfect and amazing, should always give more anima to the soft singing than you do the loud singing. Because as a human, it's natural for us to go ahead and be loud, but it's not so natural to come back to nothing. So you have to find that tiny place in your heart that spills the most emotion into the smallest spot, yeah? So I kind of think of it that way.
I don't know if I ever told you, but many people know I was friendly for many, many years and worked very close with Marilyn Horne for a long time. And Marilyn
Jackie.
is someone who does not mince words. And about Thomas Hampson many years ago, she said to me, "He's one of the good guys." And about Latonia, she said, "That gal's got it." And I said, "Marilyn, what's it?" She said, "You know what it is. She's got it." And so I always think of you in that regard. What was she talking about?
That's je ne sais quoi, I mean, I'm the sort of opera singer. I came from a household where I was one of 5 children and I was dead smack number 3 in the middle, which means that I was often ignored. And I'd ask to do something and they'd say, no, you're too young, or no, you're too old, So I decided to become an opera singer so that I could finally be noticed, so that I could be somebody, so that somebody could acknowledge my presence even, right? And because I was a jazz singer, actually, before I went into opera. And what I found singing jazz is it was a very emotional element to it, but still contained, because I was just Latonia, me. And at that young age, I hadn't lived, so it didn't have that juicy, life experience like Sarah Vaughan or Billie Holiday sort of thing, right? So it was just more youthful. But when I got to singing opera, it was different. I felt like I could let out more emotion than I've ever been able to let out before, and I'm a chameleon. I can be any character anywhere, no matter what. So my it factor is all that stifled energy and stifled emotion that I didn't get to show when I was just one of the 5 kids at home. I let it all out for the audience. Opera is my emotional release.
Um,
Thank you.
As one in a group of children, you grew up, you were not the oldest child, as you said, and you told me once that one of your older sisters often sang lead in the family. Latonia grew up in the church, and it was your grandfather who was the pastor?
Yep.
And so there was a lot of music making in the family. But you told me that you grew up sort of listening to the others and filling in where they didn't fill in musically?
Well, my sister, I mean, she's larger than life. She's definitely the star of our family, no matter what. I mean, I have 3 Grammys, and she's still the star of our family. It doesn't even matter. I remember my first Grammy, I put it in my mother's hand, and she said, "Didn't you think Sonia would win a Grammy?" I was like, oh my God, there's nothing I can do. You know what I mean? How can I get the love? But I mean, yes, it was just a family full of music everywhere. Even my mother was a classical singer, and so was her mother, which I didn't know until way later in my career, to be honest. And I was like, Mama, why didn't you tell me? She's like, I said, oh my goodness, this is a huge nugget of information. But when I was growing up and singing in church, my oldest sister, of course, she just insisted she was singing the lead because she was just the best. And so she told me, she was like, you sing the bottom line. That's what you do. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm an alto. I'm a contralto. You know what I mean? That's what I'm going to be. So as a jazz singer, that's what I did. I just kind of found this niche of singing really, really low, just because my speaking voice was really, really low set. I didn't know until I got out of, singing church with my sister that I had high notes, that I could sing the lead. She just wouldn't let me, right? So, but what I did appreciate about singing harmony so much is it made me a very smart music theorist. I started studying theory when I was 8 years old because my second oldest sister, she was doing classical music in school. So she was bringing these books home, and she did jazz. She brought fake books and these classical books, and I started forcing myself to learn how to read music. And I taught myself based on this big set of encyclopedias we had at home. We didn't have a lot. We grew up super poor. But one thing we had was dictionary and encyclopedias. So I started learning how to read based on what I was reading in the encyclopedia. I taught myself theory. And I taught theory in high school, my junior and senior year. I mean, I was just completely obsessed with it. So I don't know. I feel like my journey into music was kind of guided by the fact that I was a background singer. And in being a background singer, I learned harmony in a way that most sopranos who sing lead don't. You know what I mean? So I learned the inner workings of everything. And even currently as an artist, I always, when I learn an opera role, I always get the full orchestral score because I need to know how I fit in. Most of the time you're singing an opera, you have to realize that the singer is the lead and the entire orchestra is the accompaniment. But it's not always that way. Sometimes you are accompanying them. For example, Tosca, okay? Cavaradossi knows he's gonna die and she thinks he's saved, right? Wink, wink, right? That creepy music. That's the lead. And everything that Tosca says, oh Mario, non ti muovere, taci. She's the accompaniment for the orchestra. They're the lead. They're the ones that are playing the lead drama for us that we know is going to happen, but Tosca doesn't, right? So I think that started way back when with me being 5, 6, 7 years old singing harmonies because I learned the inner workings of a song, of a piece, that it's much more than just the vocalist, the accompanist, the orchestra. It's all like working together in tandem to create an emotion for you.
And then, of course, Tosca says, "Ecco l'artista."
That's my favorite.
Ecco l'artista.
Sì, veramente.
The first time I heard you sing was March 5th of the year 2000.
Oh, my goodness, really?
I was there. And that was the Metropolitan Opera National Council competition, the finals. The grand finals winner was Latonia Moore. And you sang a French aria and you sang some Mozart.
I did Depuis le jour
And Dove Sono.
And Dove Sono.
From Le Nozze di Figaro. And obviously voices change and grow and so on. Do you recall 25 years ago how you arrived at those 2 arias?
I sure do.
Okay.
I was obsessed with Renee Fleming, period. I was obsessed with her. I wanted to do anything that she was doing, and those were big arias for her. The Depuis le jour, I always loved singing, of course, because I loved to float and do the pianissimi and things like that. But the judges told me after the fact, they said, the reason you won the competition was the Mozart. And they said, and it wasn't the entire aria, it was the recitative. Now, that was the best compliment I could have gotten because what I love so much about the aria is the recit. because it's spoken dialogue.
Yeah.
It's when you talk to the audience and you set up everything. It's not just long line bel canto singing. It's Sprechstimme. It's what sets the mood, yeah? So this was very exciting for me because I love recitative. And when I speak Italian, it's crap, let me tell you. Just a little aside. I was in Italy, this was about 20 years ago in Trieste. I was doing La Bohème. So I go downstairs and I was like, scusa, prendi un guanciale per mio letto. And they said, canta opera, sì? And I said, how do you know? They said, you said guanciale for pillow. That's pork cheek. I was like, well, dang, because I just thought I was so awesome spouting out my Italian, not realizing how old and antiquated the kind of Italian was when you're in opera, what it is. But I didn't care. I just loved the Italian language so much, and that's why I love the recitative, because that's as close as I could get to speaking it well, since without the music, I cannot speak it very well. But that recitative is fantastic. Yeah. And I've always appreciated that about Italian opera, and I translate everything into English when I learn it, and I sing it in English with my own translation in the mirror. I'm like, dang, Susanna ain't here yet? So that's the effect I want. Susanna non viene. Oh, I'm anxious to see what the Count's going to do about our proposal. And so this is what I love the most about recitatives. I feel like I could be a lot more animated because you're really married to the line when Mozart starts the arias. So this is the biggest thing I wanted to present on the Met stage, and I was so glad that that was what got the big recognition for me.
So, March 5th of 2000, 12 years later, March 3rd of 2012, I got a call saying, get your...
Took us,
thank you. Over to the Opera House right away, because there's going to be a debut that you want to be at for. And I said, well, it'll be on the radio. No, you have to hear it in the house. And Latonia stepped in at the last minute as Aida. I had been to 2 performances earlier in the run. Violetta Urmana sang it for 5 performances. And then on February 28th, Sandra Radvanovsky stepped in and sang it. And I assumed that Sandra was going to be singing on the broadcast. She didn't. I mean, I love Sandra. She sat in that chair. But how did it happen that you suddenly made your Met debut like that?
This is a very funny and loaded story, so I'll give you the abridged version. Some of this is things that happened behind the scene that I didn't hear until later. So I was officially the cover for Aida, but when the penultimate performance came up and Violetta Urmana canceled, they would not put me on because Peter Gelb said, we need a star. The audience needs a star, not a cover. Even though I'd already sung it at the Royal Opera House and had new productions done for me, he still needed a star. I said, okay, fair enough. So Sandra went up there, nailed it. It was her role debut at the Met. She had never done an Aida there, and of course she was fantastic. And I was sitting in my living room drinking, sad, because I knew I wouldn't get to sing. I was like, Sandra's about to knock it out. There's no way they're going to let me sing that last performance. Little did I know what was happening behind the scenes. Marcello Giordani had gone into Peter Gelb and said, I demand you let this girl sing this performance. Aprile Milo calling the Met, Aprile, rah, 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 let her sing. Stephanie Blythe. One by one, they were speaking up.
Who was Amneris?
Yes, she was Amneris, right? And so what ultimately ended up changing Peter's mind was this. Thursday morning, the day after Sandra sang that Wednesday night performance, he said, we have, the Saturday broadcast, I would love for you to join us and, be our Aida, you're so fantastic. She said, who is your cover? And he said, it's Latonia Moore. She said, yeah, that's what I thought. She said, I'm not going to be able to make it Saturday. Like that. And he said, okay. She's like, yeah, I'm not going to be able to make it. I think you should let her sing. She told me about this. She has a show called Screaming Divas that she was doing online with this great soprano, Carrie Alcama. And I was a guest on the show 3 years ago. And while I was there doing this online show, she said, I want to tell you what happened. So she tells me this story, and I was flabbergasted. What soprano, what diva's gonna give up a show for another one? Sandra. Yeah. That's who. You know, she felt I deserved a chance. We had worked together before where we were both double cast in Hernani. And, you know, we just kind of fell in love with each other and respected each other, loved each other's singing. And it was a huge thing for her to do something like that. So Thursday night, I'm sitting in the living room. I was super hungover by this point. I mean, I was so upset. I'm not going to lie, I really was. And I get a call from the Met, and I was like, decline. I'm ignoring them. I'm so sick of their shenanigans. And so I checked the message. Yeah. And he was like, oh, it's John Hauser from the Met Rehearsal Department. I'm just calling to let you know that Peter has decided to put you on for the Saturday broadcast. See you Saturday morning at 11. And I was like, oh, I was drinking all the water, all the Gatorade, pickle juice, whatever I could do to hydrate, because it was less than 36 hours later that I would have had to be in that makeup chair. So I was like, am I screwed? I don't know. Mm-hmm. But I had so much adrenaline going on that I ended up okay, right? And I get up there in the morning, and I'm there backstage going crazy. I'm just like, y'all, I'm so pumped. Oh, hell yeah. Going crazy. And Marcello said, you should calm down. And I was like, why? This is my Met debut. I'm going to rock it. He said, you know, conserve the energy. Conserve, you know, save it. So I go to Stephanie's room. I'm like, Stephanie, blah, blah. She was like, girl, you better save your energy. And they kept warning me for a reason, because I get out there on the stage and the curtain, I come around the curtain, and there I am, and I froze. I did this. Okay? And so Stephanie Blythe, I'm near these, she's like, vieni di letto pressati, right? And I didn't move. And she was like, schiava, non sei, non c'è. And I was like a zombie walking over to her. So as soon as my first musical entrance came up, I opened my mouth and sang, and I did not remember anything that happened. We got to intermission. I don't remember how I sang. I just completely blanked out. And they were like, we told you. We told you to save your energy, because, you know, it's a huge moment. It's overwhelming. You need to conserve all the juice you've got, because it's not only just that you have to sound wonderful, you have to look wonderful. You have to convince the audience that you deserved this Einspringer jump in. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it was so much pressure, and I did need all the energy I could muster to do it. And boy, was I grateful. It was an absolute whirlwind of a debut, but of course changed my entire life and career.
And I happen to have music from that performance.
Oh, no.
Would you like to hear that or Buenos Aires on video?
No, I really want to hear the Met one, because I can't remember even listening to it.
So, Julian, please set up number 4.
Oh,
the
no.
sound fidelity is not the world's best. It's not the singer, it's the sound fidelity. But you're going to hear she was pretty good at her debut.
Oh, my God, I'm melting already. No, my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh. Just so you know, I had no rehearsal with the orchestra, of course, because it was just that morning. I had to go on. But the conductor was Marco Amiliato, and he was in my mouth the whole time, just following everything. It was fantastic. So I got very lucky. But, oh my gosh, I'm so nervous listening to this.
Verrà
vergogna.
Mai più si mai più no, no. Mai più, mai più. Freschina quieto si beato, che promesso il dall'amor mi fu. Il sogno delegato non ti vedrò mai più. Non ti vedrò mai non ti vedrò, non ti vedrò mai più. Patria mia, mai più ti rivedrò.
Oh my goodness.
How does it feel now?
Oh my gosh, how weird. I mean, I don't listen to myself very often. I mean, I guess when we're doing rehearsals, sometimes I record things because I have to correct it. But when it comes to the actual performances, I don't like to listen to them. I guess I like the idea of it just being live. And if you're there, you get it. But you can't play it back and hear all my flaws later. So I've never loved the idea of recording it anyway. But to hear it now, it's funny. I can hear how youthful I was then and things that I could do then that I can't do now. But also how much I've matured since then and how things changed later for Aida, for me. But it's so sweet to hear what actually happened because I avoided it for 13 years. I mean, I literally have not heard that O Patria Mia until now. So, I don't know, it brings up all kinds of feelings, but I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of that girl for getting up there with no rehearsal and just making it happen. I mean, I hear all the things. Thank you. Yeah, I hear all the things that I would want to fix, but in hindsight, I'm just so glad that I had the balls to just get up there and do it.
Did your family listen in Houston on the radio?
No, I mean there might have been a couple of people in my family that tuned in because I forced them, whatever. But at that time, especially, they just weren't into opera. They didn't really come to my shows and didn't understand what was going on. So it was more all of my colleagues that were in Texas and in Houston, and I went to school in Dallas, University of North Texas. So it was more all of those people, my high school friends that were tuning in.
Dallas
My family, Denton, yeah, it was Denton, Texas. I mean, Dallas,
Yeah.
but my family, they were a little late to the opera game.
Yeah.
They didn't start getting into it until after that debut.
Now, you said that your Aida has changed. That happens with more performances. I've seen you do it numerous times, and one of the many things I love about Latonia's work is that it's not a repetition of what she did the time before in the same role, even from one night to the next, because she brings the moment with her and whatever is happening to her during the day, plus her colleagues and everything that is what's so great about live performance. I saw you do it in London, and we chatted after in English, because at English National Opera they do everything in English. And Michelle de Young was the Amneris, and the whole thing was in English. And it was a wonderful production by Fela McDermott, not a traditional one, but an excellent production. And you tell us, rather than me repeating what you told me the last time, how it's different singing it in English when you know it so well in Italian.
Oh, okay. I mean, you can tell what language the role is supposed to be written in when you sing it out of its original language and it doesn't flow. So, I mean, it felt like Gilbert and Sullivan. It felt like musical theater. It was like Sondheim, Aida. You know what I mean? It really, some things work in English. Like, for instance, I have a recording of Macbeth that I did with Chandos, and it's in English. That works because it's Shakespeare. So maybe Falstaff would work. Maybe Othello would work. But Aida don't work. I mean, wow. Alas, I hear the cries of war echoing. I'm like, oh, God. I mean, it felt so cheesy. However, I mean, it definitely, one good thing about doing it in English, like a full production like that in English, is the next time I sang it in Italian, which I think was probably a month later, it had even more nuance, even more meaning to it, because I had performed the whole thing in its entirety in my native tongue. I had translated it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I knew every word I was saying word for word, but it was a different feeling when you're actually performing that whole role in your native tongue. So I started finding all these sparkling little ideas that I didn't have before, you know? So I was grateful for it, but I mean, it was Broadway all the way, jazz hands, yeah.
Except that the production was very grim.
Yes.
It was not the opulent Aida production that we know. The second act, I love the work of Fela McDermott, was not a triumphal scene. It was people returning from war, and not only were they bringing back gold and skins and everything from Ethiopia, but they brought back coffins of Egyptian soldiers. So that the whole effect of the processional was very, very different and very, very gripping. And so 5 years after your debut as Aida, I heard you numerous times as Aida, but one particular performance I very much enjoyed, all of them, was April 20th of 2017, because your Amneris was Violetta Ormana, who Latonia replaced as Aida.
Oh, yes.
So what was that like?
Ooh, it was juicy. Ooh. I mean, it was tough. I mean, we were definitely in contact and talking a lot as I was her cover, and I was giving her a lot of support those 5 years before. But when she came back, of course, and it was my 100th Aida, by the way, that day, April 20th, 2017. And I just had a baby, 11 weeks before. I'd given birth to my second child. Oh my God, y'all. I mean, with everything moved around, my goodness. But the dynamic between me and Violetta was very interesting because, you know, on a friendly colleague level, we really adore each other. But you could feel the underlying current of this girl covered me, went on and made a splash, and now she's Aida and I'm Amneris. Violetta sang her ass off. And not only did she sing her ass off, she acted her ass off. So when we got to the Act 2 duet in her bedroom, it was spicy and maybe a little more real than it should have been, you know? But of course, afterwards, when the curtain went down, we were like, yes! We were hugging each other, high-fiving each other, because we used the weirdness of the situation to create this amazing stage dynamic. It was juicy.
It was.
Thank you.
Around that time, Violetta Romano, who sat in this chair one night, was appearing in the Met premiere of Attila.
Oh, yes.
And Riccardo Muti made his only Met appearance conducting that production. And I said to her, when you're looking, actually turn it this way. I said, when you are looking at Maestro Muti, she said, I do not look at Maestro Muti. He looks at me.
That sounds exactly right.
And I thought, okay.
Ooh, she's like me. I don't look at the maestro either.
Why?
Because if you look at the maestro, then they conduct how you sing, and they shouldn't. You should sing, and they should go with you. Because the other way is you trying to meet someone else's standard that has nothing to do with what's natural for your voice. So, I mean, look, there are sometimes I have to look at them because, you know, their ego. Sorry for the maestri who are watching, but y'all know it's true, that I have to kind of watch them because of that, to check in sometimes. But I like looking at my colleagues on stage. I like not being beholden to what's happening in the pit. Like when I look out into the audience, I don't see the audience at all. Of course, there's a fourth wall, right? And I know that they're not there in the story, not really. They're only observing, you know, from behind a mirror, you know, those mirrors that you look at, but somebody's really behind there, like in the police station, kind of like that, you know. But from downbeat to downbeat, I'm in character, no matter what opera I'm doing. I don't sway. I don't laugh in the middle of the show, like on stage, if something happens. Like I never break. And it's because, like I said, I use this from when I was younger to channel emotions, to be someone else. When I first decided to sing opera, I went to Denton, the University of North Texas, and I had never had a classical voice lesson before. So the teacher started warming me up, and he said, you know, I went to, by the way, I was a jazz major. So he said, you know, I think you're more fit for opera singing. And I said, nah, that's not for me. When I was 13, I was looking at PBS, and I saw like this guy, and he was screaming, he was like a clown, he was screaming, and then he stabbed some girl. I was like, and then somebody ran out of the audience, and he stabbed this guy. I was like, it was nuts. And I said, and then another time, there was like this Asian chick, and she was standing there with another Asian chick and like a little kid, and nothing was happening. Of course, it was Madame Butterfly, right? And I was like, and nothing was happening. I was like, this is not for me. He said, well, look, join the opera chorus. He was like, you've done classical choirs before. Join the opera chorus for one semester. If you hate it, fine, don't do it. He said, but I think you're going to love it. I walk in to the first day of chorus rehearsal for the opera, and it's I Pagliacci. I said, not the clown killing, not this, oh my God. But literally, I did feel like it was, you know, Señor di Dio. I felt like it was a sign from God. You know what I mean? I was like, maybe there's something to the fact that all I knew about opera was Placido Domingo stabbing Teresa Stratas in this video. You know what I mean? I was like, maybe there's a connection here. So I was just Italian villager number 6 in the chorus, you know, just a nobody. But I became this Italian woman sitting there in the audience observing the Commedia dell'arte, right? And I was just like, I was mesmerized with being this other person. And my friends were laughing at me because they were all cutting up. I mean, I was 18 years old when this happened. And everybody was laughing and stuff in the chorus. And I was like, shh. I was like, shh. You know what I mean? And I was just so immersed. I was so into it. So it kind of goes along with me not watching the conductor, because if I'm staring at the conductor, you know, Italian villager number 6 wouldn't stare at the conductor, would she? You know, Desdemona, she wouldn't stare at the conductor, neither would Aida or Serena, because the conductor is not here, not really. I mean, I have an energy communication with him, but staring at him kind of takes me out of the element, and then y'all don't get that true performance from me, you know?
Julian, play number 14, please.
I'm so scared.
No, this is
Dude.
not you.
Oh, okay.
And it's not Carol Channing.
Oh no, my girl Carol.
Oh, yeah.
You know I was gonna talk about Pagliacci, Tears in the Cloud.
Now if there's a smile
That is hilarious.
on my face,
Oh my
it's only there trying to fool us
The lyric is very
when it
important.
comes down to fooling you. Now, honey, that's quite a different subject. But don't let my glad expression
my first foray to Pagliacci was Smokey Robinson, apparently.
Well, mine was, the point was, this song came out, I was maybe 8 or 9, and it was on the radio, and I was dancing around my living room. My father said, well, listen to the music, listen to the lyric. And then when the line comes, just like Pagliacci did, I'm going to keep my sadness hid. And I said to my father, what's Pagliacci? He said, let's go see Pagliacci. And that was my introduction.
Oh my goodness, I
Yeah.
love it.
And my father was a musician. And but he was open. He liked Motown. He preferred jazz a lot more. He played jazz. But he knew the lyric. And he thought, okay, if Freddie is willing to listen to this music, let me take him to Pagliacci, not Cavalletti Rusticana, just Pagliacci.
Yeah.
And it grabbed me too. That was the point.
My goodness.
So that's something you and I have in common.
Oh, I love that.
I heard you another time, not in the performance where I'm going to play now, but sing a Puccini opera that I'd only heard once. So it's not La Boheme, it's not Madame Butterfly, it's not Tosca. It's Edgar. And it's absolutely gorgeous early Puccini music. He was still finding his way as a dramatist, but the role of Fidelia fits your voice like a charm. So, because most of you have not heard this aria, we're just going to listen. Julian, I'm sorry, it's number 6. We're going to listen to this aria that you're going to discover for the first time, the way I just did for the first time hearing Latonia sing it.
Thank you.
So in listening, I could hear a little bit of Bohème Act 4, a little bit of Manon Lescaut, a little bit of Fanciulla del West. This was early Puccini, but a lot of the seeds for what he then developed so beautifully were there.
Some of that music he took directly out of Edgar and put in Tosca.
Okay.
The Act 3 Tosca duet. What is it? That's it comes from the original fourth act of Edgar.
Yep.
But he took it out and put it in Tosca.
So for doing a concert performance in Seattle, how much preparation was there about the story of the opera, which is a very complicated story, and how much was really about getting music that most people didn't know into a performing shape?
Well, that aria I had been given, it was given to me by my voice teacher, who's currently my voice teacher still since 1999, Bill Schumann. And after I won the Met auditions, I said, I want some new arias. I'm tired of copying Renee. Okay. I was like, finally, okay, I don't want to copy her anymore. He said, I have the perfect aria for you that this singer Robin Redmond sang. So he brings out this aria, and I was like, it's fantastic. So I scramble for recordings to look and see who I loved. And my favorite was Scotto.
Renata Scotti.
Scotto with Yves Quiller.
Right.
Definitely my favorite version of the aria. So I just kept singing this aria for competitions, not really knowing much about the opera of Edgar. I mean, I knew vaguely the story, and it's a terrible one, to be honest, which is why people don't want to do the show. But it was the aria that really attracted me. Well, I sang the aria so much and so often that when I got to school at the Academy of Vocal Arts, they decided to do the opera of Edgar, based on the fact that I'd been singing the aria all the time. But when they saw how stupid the story was, we did a concert version. Okay, so from there, I actually ended up doing 2 more concert versions at professional opera companies of Edgar, just based on the way I was singing this aria. What I love about the fact that now people are hearing that music is a lot of opera companies, they sleep on some of these operas that are obscure. And they don't realize that they're obscure because all y'all do is focus on the canon, the bohèmes, the toscas, the butterflies. But there's so much great music that Puccini wrote that's overlooked simply because it's not as popular. But it's the opera company's job to make it popular. And if you tell that pitiful story of Edgar in a good way and you have a good stage director, you'll have magic because, I mean, there's so many great musical moments in Edgar. I put it up there as my top 3 Puccini operas simply because there's just magical music. In the second act, the tenor has this incredible aria, O Soave Vision, yeah? Oh my God, so good. It's reminiscent of Pinkerton's Addio Fiorito Asil, kind of like that style, but it's the earlier version of it, right? But it's worth a listen if y'all want to like go through Edgar just to hear the music. And when you see the story, you can giggle about it. But the music itself, I mean, it's just from the heart. He wrote Edgar to enter into a competition against Mascagni, and he lost because Mascagni presented Cavalleria Rusticana. And I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, as great as the music of Edgar was, I mean, that Cav story and that compact 1 hour of absolute fantastic verismo drama was obviously impossible to beat. But don't sleep on Edgar. It's good stuff.
Julian, so set up number 9, please. I'm going to defend slightly the story of Edgar. Obviously, I love Italian opera. That's why we're here. I also love other operas that are not Italian. And my favorite Wagner opera is Tannhäuser. And Puccini was influenced by Tannhäuser in creating the story. And Fidelia is Elizabeth. Edgar is Tannhäuser. And Tigrana, isn't that a great name, like the tigress, is Venus. And it's about a man who's conflicted in many, many ways. And while it doesn't quite have the texture of the opera Tannhäuser, it's a very good early effort, I think. And the story, if we're going to throw out operas because of their stories, we're basically left with Andrea Chenier.
Oh my God, seriously, there's some whoppers, right? Oh my gosh.
Now, I'm going to play, you were talking about Verismo, I'm going to play a couple of arias that you have performed from different Verismo operas. And you went to Sardinia to sing in Mephistopheles, right? I don't unfortunately have that. I have you performing it with piano, but when you went to Cagliari in Sardinia, I sent you a list of restaurants where to eat fish.
Yeah.
And talk about singing in a regional Italian opera center. You sung in Trieste and elsewhere, but Cagliari is really, it's just out there in the middle of the Mediterranean, and it's very unusual, but it is one of the major opera houses of Italy. What was that like?
It was wonderful. I mean, it's not like, mainland Italy. It's a little bit different. Just their accent is different, the way they speak. Although they don't expect you to sing with the local accent, you know what I mean? Because it's opera and everything. But it was a fantastic experience because Mephistopheles is an opera that's not done very often. And I questioned whether or not the audience would even show up. Because here at the Met, when they did Mephistopheles, I mean, people came, but they weren't so excited about it. But there, it was packed. And it wasn't even necessarily so they could hear the L'altra notte or anything like that. It was for the choral numbers that are in Mephistopheles. I mean, it is ethereal, heavenly, transportive music. And the audience showed their appreciation in that way. It wasn't just them clapping. I mean, they were moved. Everyone in tears, everyone celebrating what the show actually was. And, of an opera that, we consider not mainstream opera, something very obscure. But I mean, they were so touched. That crowd down there was so amazing. And of course, I was kind of nervous singing down there because I equated it with Sicily. And I'm like, that's a harsh audience, man. If they don't like you, they're like, ooh, boo, vergogna. You know what I mean? Like, and they boo you off the stage. So I was just crossing my fingers that I didn't get booed down there. You know what I mean? But no, it was the opposite of Sicily. It was very warm, very inviting. I mean, they were just so damn excited to hear this music. It touched them. You could tell that they were so moved. A beautiful people, beautiful food.
Yeah.
Great times for sure.
So, number 9, please, Julian. L'altra notte in fondo al mare, Maddalena.
Just so y'all know, this is my very favorite aria to sing. So I was over the line. And I was very sick in this recording. I remember I was super sick, but it didn't matter. Oof.
Il mio bimbo
Set up number 8, please. It's always been my habit with singers I admire, who are friendly, that if they're interested in knowing my opinion about what roles they may want to consider, I will tell them. And so I'm going to ask you a couple of questions, not right away, about roles that I've pictured you in.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll ask you about one now. It's a Puccini role, Minnie in La Fanciulla del West. Did you ever think of it?
Oh, of course I've thought of it.
It's a particular challenge, but I think you have it.
People have been saying it to me in recent years, now that I'm older especially, you know, and so I had my first foray at it last summer where I just did the gambling scene with orchestra in upstate New York with Michael Chiodi as Jack Rance. And, of course, I fell in love with not just the music, I mean, which I've always known, but that character of Minnie is very me. It's very, like, I mean, I wouldn't even have to really act. You know what I mean? I'm very much just like her, just spitfire sort of person in general. And I would relish the opportunity.
Your Bible.
But yes, knows the scripture, very Serena. But like knows the scripture, but I mean, and which I do very much. I mean, yes. But it's a role I've been dying to do. So universe, please bring it.
All right. It's now official. It's on video. I'm going to bring up another role a little later.
Okay.
But now I'd like to hear Latonia sing maybe my favorite soprano aria from the Italian repertory. It's one of two. So Julie, number 8, please. The other is Elizabeth.
Whoa, whoa. Oh my gosh. Look at that terrible lighting. Oh my, I might cry.
So Julian, sit up number 13. That's Andrea Chenier, which many of you might have seen recently at the Met. I get in trouble when I say this, but I mean it. I much prefer it to Tosca. I think that if you line up the two operas, obviously the role of Tosca is better than the role of Maddalena. But as an opera and the way the music works, the way the storytelling happens, the more complex character, the baritone in Andrea Chenier, I just much prefer it. And went 3 times in the recent run.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it doesn't come around that often.
Yeah.
And it's really a wonderful, wonderful opera. And you sang it so beautifully. And I think what you can see in concert, and that's from early in your career, is that every single thing I've shown you and had you listen to with Latonia tonight is covered in truth. And not every opera singer, not every singer does that. They might have a style, they might have a way of singing that we love and appeals to us, and we recognize it, but it's not always truthful. And your singing and your acting and the way you described not looking at the conductor in the fourth wall and looking at your characters and engagement, I think a lot of that happens. So I can mention Madame Butterfly that you have done beautifully, and a lot of roles that are entirely truthful. And did I leave anything out in that regard?
No.
So the other role that I want to mention to you, we're going back into Wagner territory, is a number of years ago, Russell Thomas, a wonderful tenor, African-American, I should correct myself, Lawrence Brownlee says persons of African descent. He and I were talking about Wagner singing, and I said, I think it's time for an Old Black Ring. And I sat down with a piece of paper and cast it. And I did all the parts, every Norn, every Valkyrie, every Rhine Maiden, all of them. And I cast you, of course. What role did I cast you in?
Sieglinde.
No.
Oh, you got to be kidding me.
That was Angel Blue.
Oh, my. She'd be amazing, actually, Sieglinde. Actually, that's a good idea.
Who would you be? The big girl.
Brunhilde.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's
yeah,
the
I got a
truth-
good B.
It's the truth, and you do have a good B, and it's the truth issue. And it's the moral complexity of the character. Sieglinde is beautiful, she has great music, she's pained, she's not on enough, and it's a story of Brunhilde, is the whole ring. I mean, it's the story of Alberic and the curse of the gold.
Sure, yeah.
And all that, and you know, we're not going to tell the story of the ring tonight. I could, but I'm not going to. But central to all of this is Brunhilde, and I needed someone who not only could sing the music, but could grasp the truth issues. And the relationship with Wotan of Speedo. Because you played his mother a couple of times, so it's time for him to play your father.
Why not?
And it's something I've thought very seriously about, and I think that it's a project that could be developed, maybe in concert or recording.
Yeah, I was going to say, in all honesty, I mean, I think
Yeah.
I'd be buried by the orchestra. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm a lirico spinto, technically, that
Right.
makes a lot of noise on the top, right? But if there was a concert version, I might delve into that, especially if we
Yeah.
just did Valkyrie.
No, you got to do the whole
We got to
thing.
do the whole thing. Go to Damarum, the
Yeah,
immolation.
the immolation, yeah.
Mein Gott.
But you're not doing it the day after it's 18 years later.
This is true. This is true. Well, I am extremely flattered because, I mean, for me, Brunhilde is such a beautifully psychological role.
Yeah.
And I love things like that. Just like for Verdi, if I had to go into Verdi and say what my favorite role character-wise is, it might be Alice Ford, just because I
was gonna ask
love
you about that,
her
yeah.
jargon. I just love the way she talks. I love the way it's all put together. So I'm a character soprano almost when it comes down to it. So it's funny. Vocally, I've been cast as Sieglinde before, but never Brunhilde. But of course, Brunhilde is the character that, as an artist, I relate to much more.
Yeah.
It's true.
That's
wow, what
why I
vision.
cast
This
you
is
as
amazing.
that. Yeah. Sometime you and I will open a bottle of something, and I'll take out
delish.
all the characters from the ring cycle. You'll see that it'll be great. And Morris Robinson said he wants 4 roles. He only gets one, but he wants 4 roles. Anyway, having explored the Italian repertory a lot tonight, because this is the Casa Italiana, this is a wonderful Italian soprano, I'm now going to play something from Porgy and Bess in a couple of minutes, because I want you to see, as Aretha Franklin said, from these roots, what the roots are. Yes, your roots are obviously a person of African descent, the church, the South, but the singing is not just all of that, but it's every aspect, every emotional aspect, every musical aspect that we've heard tonight. Think back to Desdemona. Think back to Aida, the third act. Think back to the two Madalenas. Think back to Smokey Robinson, not quite. But think back to all of these different kinds of Italian characters and their issues, and we find that great opera singing is great opera singing wherever it is brought. If you have the voice, the technique, the temperament, the sensibility, the acting skills, and all of that, so that a 4-minute aria, My Man's Gone Now, which was written in the 1920s, has behind it all of opera that Gershwin certainly knew. But before we get to that, I want to point out that Latonia is one of the few artists who sung multiple opening nights at the Met. Placido Domingo holds the record, I think, but you sung 3 in this decade. Yeah.
4.
4. I'm sorry, what am I leaving out? You have Porgy and Bess, you have Fire Shut Up in My Bones, you have Dead Man Walking.
Oh, it is 3. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, Champion didn't open the season.
Champion opened in April.
I feel like there is one that's missing, but maybe I'm wrong. But
Yeah.
yes, at least 3.
So, what those 3 operas, Dead Man Walking is a wonderful opera. You play 3 very different kinds of Southern women.
Yes.
And this one's a nun, Sister Rose. You play Serena in Porgy and Bess, and you've also played Bess, and I hope to see you do that. You've done it in recording. You did it in.
I actually did it a couple of months ago in Sao Paulo,
Yeah, in Brazil,
where
I
I will
know
be.
that.
Well, I will be doing my Madalena debut actually next season.
Let's go to Brazil.
Chenier. Yeah, come to Brazil.
And then you play a very formidable but very complex and wonderful mother in Fire Shut Up in My Bones, based on a wonderful novel. Terence Blanchard wrote the music, and she's a great character, Billy, because you simultaneously slaughter a chicken, raise 5 children, literally slaughtering chicken on the stage, and your character, I'm not going to give it away, it exists on video, has such a remarkable growth curve in that opera. She's not, I don't want to say just, but she's not just the poor, struggling mother of 5 children. She's a person who remarkably grows and changes and sees her children change and grow, and a rather tragic event happens to one of them, but she shows him how to get past that, how to live with it, how to incorporate it to himself. And these are all aspects, I'm a Northerner, obviously I'm from New York, but of the South and Southern womanhood and black women in the South. In one case, a Catholic, Sister Rose, in an opera about the death penalty. 2 of them are set in Louisiana, 1 in South Carolina. You're from Texas. Talk about, please, the phenomenon of playing characters that, on paper at least, might be closer to who you are.
Okay. First of all, when it comes to Porgy and Bess, like I said before, I was a jazz singer. And I always wondered if, I made a mistake leaving jazz and going into opera, until I finally got into singing Serena in Porgy and Bess specifically, because I sang Bess first with Berlin Philharmonic before that. But my first production as Serena was this Met production. What's so interesting about that, and Fire Shut Up My Bones and Champion, is for the 3 Grammys that we won for a best opera recording, they're all operas and jazz. They're all jazz affiliated. I've spent my entire career always declaring that I'm an Italian soprano, and I still believe I am. But at the same time, it's clear what I've been put here for, right? That I was supposed to be here to meld those genres. And it's because I have a blood memory of those sort of experiences. I mean, even though I wasn't alive in the years that these women were, there's a sort of memory of the struggle. And also growing up with my own mother and her 5 children, and my dad stepping out on her, you know, and her having to make ends meet and deal with it, and having to struggle, you know. It was a very personal show to do. I mean, down to the point of where in the show, Billy Blow, she shoots a gun, and I have a real gun on stage, and I'm shooting at my husband. I remember telling my dad about it. You know, I was like, I really want to do this opera because I feel like it's close to our family. I mean, some of the names were similar. Charles is my dad's name, my brother's name, and that was the central character, Charles Blow. I told him that I was, you know, waving this gun around and shooting on stage and stuff, and he said, well, that's kind of like your grandmother. And I was like, what? He said, oh, yeah, you know, Pawpaw was, you know, stepping out on her, so she pulled out her shotgun and started shooting at him. I said, you gotta be shitting me. I was like, are you serious? And she started shooting at him? So I was like, okay, I was meant to do this opera. I guess I'm typecast, and I am Grandmother Moore shooting and, you know, all this stuff. So there's something so personal about it because it's where I grew up. It's what my family was like, you know, and I understood the struggles. And so the hardest part about doing these operas and it being so close to home is not crying. It's keeping my emotions in check as I'm singing them, which for some of the performances was just impossible. I mean, because I become the character so deeply that when the character is that close, how can you fully compartmentalize between Latonia and Billy Blow, between Latonia and Imelda Griffith or Serena Robbins? You can't. So sometimes the singing doesn't come out perfect. And I love that because I'm always a performer that's about sincerity. And there's nothing more sincere than taking your role completely to heart. It means that you bypass perfection for excellence of character. And that'll always be more important to me because if I wanted to just get up and be a singer, then I would do just that. I'd be a concert singer. But if you're going to be an opera performer, you have to embody the role. Your job is to sing the character to life by whatever means necessary. And for me, especially for these roles specifically, I had to tap into my blood memory, into my DNA, into my family memory, and it made me vocally a lot more vulnerable. But I loved every moment of it. I did.
Before we play Serena, I have a question that maybe you knew this gentleman or maybe not. There was a fellow in the 2019 cast of Porgy and Bess who is no longer with us, Arthur Woodley, who I knew very well because his wife, Maria Woodley, worked at the Italian Trade Commission here, and I have done a lot. You know that I've done a lot of Italian food stuff and food books and wine and so on. And often I was in contact with Maria, and it was through Maria years ago that I came to know Arthur, who was a wonderful singer, a wonderful man. And in the first production of Champion before it came to New York, he played the older Emile Griffith. Champion, a very short version, is the story of Emile Griffith, a boxer who accidentally, unintentionally killed a man in a ring. He also, 60 plus years ago, was gay at a time when a muscular black boxer from the Caribbean could not be accepted as a gay person. And in effect, he says that I'm praised for killing a man, but not for loving a man. Mm-hmm. And Arthur played that role in Washington as the older boxer, and he was really wonderful. And he finally got his Met debut in the role of Fraser, which is a small role in Porgy and Bess. But as we're in an Italian context tonight, and he lived in Italy and was married to an Italian, anything you can tell us about Arthur Woodley that I left out?
He was hot. He was a hot guy. I mean, it's funny because when I met him, I guess he was already about 70 years old, close to 70. And I can't remember more, I mean, aesthetically beautiful colleague. But of course, I was respectful. I wasn't trying to, hit on Arthur Woodley or anything. But he, what I really loved about him is even in Lawyer Frazier, it was so beautifully sung, and it was so sincere. And I really felt like we were kindred spirits as singers because he is all about sincerity. And of course, him doing something like Champion, a role like that is so psychological. And Eric Owens, who did it beautifully here at the Met, I felt like it's probably one of his best roles and probably one of Arthur's best roles because it forces you to come to terms with being absolutely human on stage, which a lot of singers, Eric, essentially was a Wagnerian, right? Mm-hmm. And so as a Wagnerian, you compartmentalize all of your emotions just so you can be sonorous and sing the line and not get buried by the orchestra. However, when you're thrown into, when you're thrown into a situation where you can't just sing the notes or it doesn't work, and it forces you like that, it's a life-changing experience. And when I even talked to Eric about it, this is how he felt, and this is definitely how Arthur Woodley felt about it. It brings something different out of yourself when you have to be so vulnerable and you're naked in front of the audience like that. And Arthur Woodley, even in a small role like Lawyer Frazier, was exactly like that. Mm-hmm. He was like, only $1.50 to change from woman to lady. I was like, make love to me. I'm attracted to a sincere vocalist, one that's embodying the character, one that's becoming whoever it is, and that's what he had. He had it in spades. Yeah. So, miss you, Arthur. You. Absolutely.
So, Julian, if you please, number 13. This one I'm going to watch.
Mm-hmm.
For his tired footsteps
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
I appreciate Latonia's coming because she's a very busy woman. She was in rehearsal all afternoon today and singing this role, and I said, "Don't you know it by now?" And she told me that a couple of cast changes are happening, and they wanted the veteran artist to work with the cast members who are coming to the cast. That's part of the job.
Yep.
So we thank you for everything you do,
Huge
And-
pleasure for me.
and we look forward to a lot more.
Oh, yes.
Thank you, Latonia Moore.
Thank you. Thank you all so much. Thank you, darling.
Have some caballero. It's fun. What's warm?
Cheers.
Cheers.